Chapter 13, still looking at the external influences on consumer behavior, focuses on two different aspects. One is social class and the other is household. And one of the key things to take away from this chapter is the first bullet point, social class hierarchy and its determinants. One common fallacy or misconception held by many people is that income is strongly related to social class, and that is false, particularly in the U.S. Western culture, which is what we're focusing in on here. And an example that I would share with you is if you were to look at outside across the pond in England, is if you were to think about Prince Harry. Prince Harry's vocation and actual income is in the service. And if you were to ask, or if you were to think about what social class would somebody be who serves in the military, royal upper class would probably not be the first term to come into mind. So one of the first things to look at is what actually determines social class. And the answer to that question fundamentally is education. Education and occupation. And generally, not always, but both are interrelated. And the reason being is if you were to ask yourself, in looking at some of your friends who decided not to go forward onto college, would you say that you and they fundamentally have the same values, the same perspectives, the same beliefs on how the world operates? I would suspect that the bigger the gap of your world experiences or educational experiences compared to someone else who may not have been as fortunate, may be fundamentally different. And that is the essence of what we're getting at in this particular chapter. It's not to say that one social class is necessarily better than another, but each social class comes embedded with its own values and belief systems, and in particularly when we look at the value or the meaning of money. So one thing to reflect upon for yourself is, what does money mean to you? And in answering that question, fundamentally, people may have different answers. Money may be a form of security. Money may be a form of freedom. Money may represent many different things to different people. And those fundamental beliefs influence their resultant consumer behavior. So the other aspect to pay close attention to in the book, and to look at those particular examples, is to look at social class and how it influences consumer consumption. In some cases, people may have an aspirational reference group where they would aspire to achieve and they want to become members of a different social class. So they may actually wind up acquiring things and doing things that are associated with, or that may be symbolically represented, i.e. from chapter 17, of that particular aspirational social class. And then the second part is looking at different types of households, families, and their different family life cycle. So in understanding who are the decision makers within that particular household, and how does that influence acquisition and consumption decisions.